Hey, thanks so much for starting your week with us on Up to Speed here on this Monday. We are live, and our goal today is to convince every single one of you watching that, yes, your voice matters. And we're going to do this through the voices of some very special frontline teammates joining us live today for an honest conversation. And because of that, I know we've got a pretty sizable frontline audience. So let's take the first slide. Send a big shout out to every single one of our teammates making those critical connections with our customers. You're seeing just a fraction of our frontline V-teamers here, of course. And to those teammates, the message from us: we see you, we hear you, and we look forward to learning from you today. And thank you again for joining us. And by the way, we've been talking about this last week, but if you're looking for ways to find us in a very easy place to interact, as well as get all of your information, make sure you download the Inside Verizon app. You can find it on Google Play as well as the Apple App Store. So that's the Inside Verizon app, and we'll be talking more about that tomorrow as well. Now, before we jump into today's topic, as you see here, I've got my 5G Just Got Real shirt, and we're going to head to Atlanta, one of my favorite cities. I've got Georgia on my mind, and Kate J on the line. Our Up to Speed teammate is connecting with us through the power of our network. Kate's here live on her 5G phone, by the way, to share with us how we're making 5G and the ATL a big deal. And Kate, what is that thing behind you? Is that a bus behind you, like a 5G bus?
I mean, that's more of a 5G truck, Andy, okay? But
Okay.
Yes, I think, I have to say, you were here in Atlanta with me in July of last year when we turned up the ultra-wideband network, right? It was a little bit warmer then than it is now, but so exciting as we continue to roll out 5G in Atlanta. Our latest launch back at the end of October was 5G home. So Atlanta is one of 12 markets to have this super fast home internet connection. And what we've got here, and that will be here, for through the 22nd, is this very cool 5G pop-up experience. So what you're going to see, you scan a barcode, you get to really pick between several experiences. And I'm going to flip my camera around and show you what this is all about.
Nice. Very cool. And it
really
looks like it's super interactive.
Reimagine your home internet experience. And they've got some good moves, too, I'll tell you.
So Kate, I see someone in there. What is going on? It's like we're kind of peeking into someone's apartment there or something.
Yes, this is, again, about how you're going to reimagine your home internet experience with 5G home. So he right now is checking out all the options on the TV. Just really cool. There's, like I said, 3 experiences that you can choose from to really understand like what it would mean to be on Verizon's 5G home.
I love it.
And got some cool dance moves. They were doing some high kicks that, I could certainly not do. Probably ever.
I was going to say, it's kind of like an out-of-body experience because, everyone's dancing in their apartments these days by themselves, of course. So that's what it looks like if you're doing that. But through the power of 5G, I suppose you could do all kinds of stuff at home. And what a great way. And you're hoping to make this matter to folks in Atlanta, to the media. I mean, it's obviously going to draw quite a few eyeballs there in Atlanta.
Absolutely. Atlanta is at the forefront of Verizon's 5G technology. So excited to have it here. Again, we're going to have it in some of our stores around Atlanta through the 22nd, and really giving the Atlantans the chance to really see what it will mean to have this awesome service.
Well, thank you very much, Kate J, live from Atlanta with us on her 5G phone. Kate, thanks so much for sharing how we are making 5G matter. All right, so,
thanks, guys.
Obviously, much like that 5G van, the 5G bus, it aims to inform and excite our customers. It's what our frontline teammates are working hard to do, exactly that every single day. And it's why our Up to Speed team wanted to better understand the frontline perspective. So our teammates Raquel Wilson and Dave Berger went on a grassroots mission to reach out, connect with, connect one-on-one with a bunch of our frontline V-teamers in the hopes of understanding how we can improve our communications with them. And here are just a few high-level findings from Raquel and Dave. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, guys. So let's take a look at the next slide. 3 big points to think about here. The first is just how busy things can get for our teams, especially right now. Time is, of course, a huge investment, and our teammates love seeing the company's passion on Up to Speed, but that passion must come with tangible, easy opportunities opportunities to connect and learn, something our device guy, George, does so well and gets some much-deserved love there. Second, it's all about being genuine when we communicate. Our teammates say it's always a gift to hear leaders like Hans share the personal side of their lives. And finally, the third point, we want our voices heard. That's from the front line. Now, the quote there is, of course, describing our Call for Kindness campaign and the desire from the frontline team to have their voices heard. It's the focus of today's Up to Speed conversation. And with that, I'd like to introduce Brian Adamek from our Your Voice Matters program. I suppose if we want people's voices heard, Brian, you are the right man to talk to because the program itself is called Your Voice Matters. Brian, how are you, sir? And thanks for joining us on Up to Speed.
I'm doing great, Andy. Thanks for asking. Definitely wanted great chance to have this platform to talk to you about Your Voice Matters. And, it's definitely been a challenging year for all of us, I think, and probably one of my most challenging in the 20 years I've been here at Verizon. But, it's that time of year we kind of reflect back and, think about all the blessings and things that we have. So definitely great to be here and talking to you today.
Absolutely. And Brian, you and I have talked a lot about sort of how we need to sort of shift the way that our channels communicate with our teammates. But for folks who may not know, tell us a little more about Your Voice Matters, about how Your Voice Matters aims to strengthen that frontline voice.
Yeah, no, I always think back, and we had this conversation back when I was in indirect as an account manager, and always had these ideas or different things that I wanted to try and get across or help my peers and teammates, and didn't really know where to go or have that place, and Your Voice Matters definitely provides that. It's a place where representatives can go and be a part of something and collaborate with other channels and really kind of help us improve those different processes and systems that are out there to not only increase the customer experience, but also increase the employee experience as well, and really provide that best-in-class experience for everybody.
Yeah, and we're seeing here, the Your Voice Matters program obviously has been wildly popular and folks have been able to apply and be a part of that. But talk about what it means to find the motivated B-teamers and the participants there looking to create real change. What are some of the ways that our company and our customers have seen and felt those changes straight from Your Voice Matters?
Yeah, if you take a look at the slide we have here, Andy, would you believe that we've taken in over 2,000 action items just this year alone? It's pretty
crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if we push on over to the next slide here, Brian is talking about it's a bit of a word cloud and it's hard to maybe sort of see what's going on, but yes, all of what you're seeing there is something that came from Your Voice Matters, and it's pretty incredible. And I know, Brian, that you try and make sure that maybe if you're not a participant in the program, you can still interact with what you and your group does. So as we go to the next slide here, and Brian, this is just a snippet of the guests that you have on Instagram, which is obviously a huge tool for our retail team, and you have these conversations. So these Instagram lives on the Your Voice Matters channel there. Tell us what that's all about. And, I've listened in on a few and tried to really get to know. And I can tell you, when you really want to get into the weeds, there's a lot of very honest conversation here. So tell us what that's been like to moderate these conversations with obviously some great leaders, but also folks on the front line who are ready and willing to give us their perspective.
Yeah, no, definitely, Andy. And we've been using this platform to kind of talk about some of those action items that were on the previous slide, some of the great wins that have come from the program. And I'd be remiss if I didn't, give a shout out to the team that I work on under Kelly Larada with Paul, Valda, Lauren, and Kelly, just relentless in their pursuit of trying to get these items resolved, working on our partnerships with the systems team, with the operations team under Matt and Robin, specifically Daryl White's systems team and Jeff Galuzzo's operations team, where those partnerships have helped us to resolve over 90% of those action items that you saw on that previous slide. And so, some of the things we've been able to work on that we talk about on the Instagram live show is just the implementation of touchless retail, which I know Chelsea's going to talk about a little bit here. Between that and redeployment, where we were able to take some of the learnings from redeployment and really kind of learn cross-functionally, what are some of the tools that we can take from that experience and then implement back when the employees return back to their store. Countless focus groups and surveys on things, that we can enhance. One of the big ones that came out was with the emergence of Vicky, were smart links. Smart links allows us to help our customers while keeping our employees and our customers safe, in a touchless way. We were able to work with Angie Klein's team on mix and match this year. We held a focus group where we talked about, what are some of the things that customers really look for? And overwhelmingly, it came with video content. And so you've seen that with some of the additions that we have with ESPN Plus and Hulu. And so that what I'm most excited about, actually, that we've been working from the ground up, Andy, is one that you talked about on this show, which was Discover Daily, which we've been working hand in hand with go-to-market team, Alex Colson and Mike Corvo, just, building that next level. If you love Unboxed, Discover Daily is going to take that to a whole new level. And so that's what we're kind of trying to use the Instagram platform for, is just to really highlight those wins and successes and things that come from the field that we're able to implement back.
Yeah, and I think, Brian, to your point about, finding ways and using Instagram as a channel, we have an audience here that may not be as close to the front line as you are, Brian, but at the same time, I think what we can all take away is that, at some point, we all, these ideas don't just, materialize out of thin air. You have to make those connections, and so hopefully folks can walk away thinking about ways that they can better connect, and Brian, you've done such a wonderful job sort of describing that. Thank you. I want to expand our panel here. We have a panel of frontline voices here, and so in the interest of hearing and learning more from our frontline, we've got a few of our Your Voice Matters alumni joining our conversation. So as Brian mentioned, our retail director Chelsea Weaver is here. How are you, Chelsea?
Hi, Andy. Good morning. Good afternoon to wherever you are. I'm doing great today. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. We love having you here. And Andres Monge from our indirect sales team joining us as well. Andres, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Up to Speed, sir.
Hi, how are you? How's everybody doing?
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're just, we're going to keep this somewhat free-flowing, and this is sort of the way that we designed it, because I think, in a way, in the interest of sort of keeping to the philosophy of Your Voice Matters, I want to make sure that your voice is completely highlighted here. So I will toss this up, and Chelsea, I'll start with you. Talk about why a program like Your Voice Matters has been important to your development and your role, but more than that, why the retail team, why is it important for them to have a channel where they can voice their opinions and know that change may be coming?
Hey, yeah, thank you, Andy. So I'll tell you, from the start of Your Voice Matters and being a part of the program, it really just gives everyone a platform for their voice to be heard, for us to really give feedback on what's going on out in the front line with our customers. And I'll tell you, when we think about 2020, the feedback that we have received from our team members has been extremely instrumental in allowing us to meet our customers in a different manner than we ever expected that we would need to meet them. Because of that feedback, we were able to adjust and adapt in ways like, and you heard Brian say a lot of it, but when we think about curbside and how we were able to now go outside of our stores and meet our customers at their cars, how we've enhanced in-store pickup and our digital tools from a touchless perspective, the Vicky SmartLink updates we've done, all of this evolving has come from our frontline teams giving us the feedback, telling us this is what we need to be able to show up for our customers. But then on top of that, how do we show up in a safe manner? So as we've gotten that feedback, we've really been able to evolve, and having a program like Your Voice Matters has allowed us to do that.
Great. I want to check in with Andres here and really sort of expand that and talk about how, the networking and the relationships that you build with folks are really critical here. So, Andres, talk to us about, what it means to sort of continue building that relationship across the company and how that's sort of shaped your role and impacted you in your role.
Yeah, so not only do you get to know what's going on in the back end, when you're a rep, when you're an AM, when you're a sales associate in the field, but you also get to market yourself and you get to understand what other parts of the business there are. So that's been huge for me, for myself and for my team, because you learn to understand the bigger picture. And while you're understanding the bigger picture, they need your feedback. So you're giving feedback. And now your idea that you thought was minimal becomes somebody's huge idea for the bigger part or bigger role of Verizon. So that gets intriguing. So it's huge Lego pieces that start getting put together. And at the end of it, you're looking at this huge puzzle that luckily that I've been a part of that I can utilize now. So as a DM in the field, I can utilize those Lego pieces, those puzzles that I was able to put together to get to know the why, to tell the why, or to even call somebody and say, help. Remember me? Wave 4, you're wave 5. Let's help each other. So it's been fun.
Yeah, Andres, and that's such a great point. To be able to sort of give ourselves and each other permission to ask for that help, I think goes a long, long way. And I want to shift our conversation now to perhaps some of the more challenging things that have come out of discussions with the front line here. And I want to go back to some of the research that Dave and Raquel were able to do with the front line. So we go to that next slide here. There's a certain quote that we got. Again, this is lots of high-level stuff and nothing new here or earth-shattering, but I just want folks to read this quote we got from our research. Right now, in the store, it seems like we're putting out fires on a daily basis. We're focused on safety, which is good, but it does take longer. Some customers have to wait a long time. Some get angry about having to wear a mask. So to our panel here, our frontline panel, we'll start with you, Chelsea. When you hear that, obviously you're nodding along to this. You've heard it before. Tell us about, let's get real about this conversation. It's a really difficult year, especially for our frontline teams. What are you hearing, and how are you processing, and how are you helping your teammates and your team process some of the challenging portions of this 2020 year?
Yeah, so I've said this to my team so many times over the year. I feel that 2020 has brought out the best in people, but it's also brought out the worst in some people. And when I think about what we've done as a business to be able to recognize that, it's another proof that a program like A Call for Kindness is so needed, because it helps remind us that we have to show empathy. And you saw on one of the previous slides, Andy, it said something along the lines that the person behind the mask. We have to remember that there's someone behind that mask, that customer might be having a really tough day. They may have had someone who they've lost in their lives. They also may not know what we're going through. We may have just came off of a tough customer, moved on to the next one. But when you think about it, it's not that hard to be kind, right? Kindness should be free. But in 2020, the stress and anxiety sometimes affect how we show up as a human being. And so I think that as we continue to work through these tough times and really recognize what our frontline's going through, something like A Call for Kindness helps all of us remember that just try to have some empathy, and we will continue to take that feedback and do the best we can to ensure that our teams are safe and that we hear them and that we all just are a little bit kinder than maybe we were the day before.
Yeah, absolutely. Great points there about who's behind the mask, especially the customers we're serving. Andres, we'll extend that question over to you. When you look at those challenging moments, when you and your teams are talking about it, what's the best way and the way that you're handling it to make sure that we keep things in perspective?
So listen, for my team in the indirect role, it's a little different. We're not able to be in front of them and tell them and encourage them and tell them to smile. So we have to empower the people that are in the field to make sure that we understand where they're coming from. Thanking them for what they're doing, because it's not an easy job. And to Chelsea's point, she shared some stories, and they're powerful stories that you have to sit back and say, you know what, it's the person in front of you is human, and sometimes they don't get treated like that. So as leaders in the business, we have to make sure that we treat them like human, and they know that we're not just their leader or their friend, we're also a human. So it's a human-to-human connection that we're making. And that's what I love about what we're doing, because we're putting our walls down as a company. We're allowing everybody to come in and see our smile, see what we're bringing to the table, and we're being vulnerable, which a Fortune 500 company does not do that. And for that to be happening right now, it is amazing. Like, if you told me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when I first started this company, this is where we will be, I would be like, okay, Andy, sure thing. But it's happening, and it's amazing.
Well, and I can tell you right now, the connections that we've made today with you and Chelsea and Brian, this hopefully is an extension and a beginning and a catalyst for more open and honest discussion like this. I think it's one of the things that we've thought about from the Up to Speed team is, how can we better connect with that frontline audience and make sure that what we're doing matters to them as well. And of course, hearing from you. So to you, Andreas, Chelsea, thank you very much for joining us. And I know Brian's been sort of watching and waiting in the wings here and nodding along like very proud of the program and the Your Voice Matters alumni. So Brian, just any thoughts hearing that discussion and your chance now to just kind of wrap things up as we sort of bring things to a conclusion here. I know you've got another wave coming up, another application.
We do have another wave coming up. Wave 9 applications are out there right now. It's open until 12/18, so definitely get out there and apply. To steal a line from your previous guest, Andy, if you want to be in the room where it happens, right? These are the focus groups where you can be in there. You can sit side by side virtually with the people who make the decisions, the stakeholders who are actually making the change, and have those powerful conversations. But I love hearing from, people who've been a part. Chelsea goes back to one of the original waves, wave 2, Andreas, wave 4. And so these are the people who continue to give back, right? They continue to be a part of the program. They continue to help the new waves that come in. And it's a community like anything other. It's professionally the most, just the proudest thing that I've been able to work on here at Verizon. And, it's definitely made a great impact on me. And I think if you talk to anybody who's been through the program, they would say the same thing. So, like I said, get out there and definitely be a part of it. Be a part of the change.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian, and thank you for opening up this world to us and helping us make better connections. And, of course, our thanks to Chelsea and Andreas as well. So before we go, a couple of announcements here. And one more thing for our folks on the front line who are watching and you want your voice to be heard. Please, you are more than welcome to interact with us on VZ Web. Send us an email. Watch us on the Inside Verizon app. And just make sure, let's keep that connection nice and strong as we move forward. So as we go to the next slide here, a couple of programming notes here, if you will. We have a fantastic, courageous conversation with our advanced ERG, and this is led by Kelly Kurtzman, and we'll be talking about disability bias and how folks at Verizon, especially our leaders, are making sure that this conversation is taking place and that we can learn more from those perspectives. So that's happening today, 3 p.m. Eastern. And a quick note about CES. I know that's a ways out, but it is around the corner. So let's go to that next slide here. As you know, CES is all virtual. So yes, all of you can attend CES for this upcoming year. But as you may also know, Hans will be leading the keynote as well. So for all of us, it is pretty important to make sure that we not only support Hans, but really sort of watch as, the world gets to see Hans, much like we did with the iPhone 12 there. So if we can take the next slide here, if we haven't already, the Consumer Electronics Show, now the registration is free through today, December 14th, using your Verizon.com email address. For those of you on the replay here, we will provide a link to where you can register. There should have been another email that you would have gotten about CES registration as well. So make sure you get that in today. And the keynote time is January 11th, 6 p.m. Eastern, where Hans will be talking about 5G and will impact the lives of our consumers everywhere, of course. So we'll have a few more announcements as well. So make sure you register for that. With that, I'd like to thank our guests, Brian, Chelsea, Andreas. Thank you very much. Kate J from the ATL. I've got to go visit that band sometime. But it's been wonderful starting this conversation with all of you and really sort of making sure that our communications and our connections continue to strengthen. And this is how we do it. We have real conversations. We reach out to folks. We see how folks are doing. And as Andreas said, look, if you need help, ask for that help. And if you see someone maybe in need of that help, make sure you're out there and you're open enough to help them. And we'll definitely be moving forward together, finishing the year strong. And I love that we're starting the week this way with a conversation so important to us. A special thanks to our frontline team. We've been thinking of you, and we know you're doing some amazing work, especially during these holidays. Thank you for serving our customers and keeping our network nice and strong for our families out there. And with that, we'd like to say thank you for watching, and until next time, you're up to speed.